Did I lose it? Nope, we're still in. Okay. Bear with me. Here we do. This is so unprofessional. I've only been rehearsing this for the last 3 days. Okay. Let's start over. Ready? Five, four, three, two, one, and. Okay. Man, I hope this one works. Good God. Jump in there, guys. Please. Oh, Timothy, tell me, is it working? Can you hear me? Please tell me you can hear me. What do you think? Is this gonna work? Shoot. All right. Yes, you can hear me. All right. Thank you, Ashley. Okay. Welcome to the first ever live episode of the Apocalypse Post, this time with sound. I have a voice, I promise. We weren't going to get away with it easy, right? Oh man, I am sweating. It's been pretty nuts. All right, so today we have the 10 years of Wasteland Weekend highlights reels extravaganza, starting with some footage from the first week's Wasteland Weekend in 2010 and going all the way through 2019. Sorry, I'm flubbing my words because I can hear myself in my ear. It's a little delayed. Guys, I have never watched all of these highlight reels back to back to back until I started putting this together, and I gotta say, it's pretty awesome. Okay, let me just make sure you're all here. Oh, good God. Yes, I'm so happy. Oh, man, I was freaking out. I don't even know what was wrong, to be quite honest. Okay. I hope you've all got a beverage of choice. I know I sure do, and I'm glad I've got it here ready. I'm ready to celebrate 10 years of Wasteland Weekend together. If you don't have a drink, go get one now. I'm just going to talk about myself for a second. Chew my ice. Man, I'm so nervous. This is weird. Okay, while everyone's filling your cups, here's a little bit about me. So, like many of you, I've been a Mad Max fan since I first saw Road Warrior when I was like 10 or 12. I don't remember when. It was just as one of the earliest movies I can remember. It was. I was also a huge Waterworld fan, and I got into Fallout at Fallout 3 when I moved to California. My roommates had it. They played it all the time. So, of course, I had to try it, and oh my God, it changed my world. And then, of course, pretty soon after that, I heard about Wasteland Weekend before the first event, before 2010. I didn't make it, just life stuff. But I saw the photos come out, and I was like, man, I've got to go to this thing. And so I ended up volunteering to run the documentary crew for Wasteland Weekend 2011. Of course, it didn't take me that long to get involved because I ended up doing one of the build days for 2011, and we took some of that footage and made a promo for 2011. So it was pretty cool. So that was at the Wasteland Construction Yard, which is better known as Adam Chilson's backyard, where I met a bunch of the build crew, fell in love with this whole world, and soon enough, we were putting together that promo, which was pretty cool. As we go tonight, I'd like to invite you all to comment, ask questions, blow up that chat box, keep the conversation going. Since we won't be getting together at many festivals this year, which is a damn shame, but hopefully looking back at Wasteland's past will help everyone remember the times before the apocalypse. And this may not be the wholesale destruction of life as we know it, but it's close enough for the name to fit. So we'll go ahead and just call this an apocalypse, right? Now, 2010, as I said, was the only year that didn't have a highlights reel. So for our purposes today, we're going to use the 2011 promo to represent 2010. It's got a lot of 2010 footage in there. And this one was actually voiced by Wasteland co-founder Jared Butler, who just happened to be a voiceover artist professionally. All right, so here we go. Let's check it out.
Coming this September 2011, Wasteland Weekend. 3 days of Mad Max-inspired mayhem in the Southern California desert. Camp out in a 360-degree post-apocalyptic environment among Mad Max-style vehicles and sets, featuring bands, DJs, dancers, combat, and fire performers. Leather, music, engines, apocalypse. Wasteland Weekend. Prices go up as the event gets closer. Buy your tickets now at wastelandweekend.com.
This was a place that was vile, corrupt.
Okay. All right, I'm going to ditch the earpiece. I think it was giving me a little trouble there. Thanks for the heads up, Jared. Okay, so that was Wasteland Weekend 2010. And attendance was around 350 people. There was no theme zone. It was just general camping everywhere. But with such a small attendance, you could see out over the desert. And I'm just going to give myself a compressor. I think I'm blowing you guys out, right? Real quick. There we go. Something like that. Maybe go a little bit higher. Check, check, check. Okay, that's better. So we saw a lot of firsts in 2010, of course, because it was the first year. All those costumes and the cars and the camps. It was the first time everyone really got decked out in Wasteland attire as opposed to Road Warrior Weekend attire, which was the year before. So you also noticed in that clip a gyrocopter, and that was the only year that the gyrocopter was at Wasteland Weekend. It was pretty cool. It reminds us right out of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome using that gyrocopter. So that was pretty cool. At the end there, that was Dan Thompson giving the first Sunday sermon as Brother Testify, which he has not missed a Wasteland yet. He's been doing this as our church service on Sunday at every Wasteland since, and even though his radiation poisoning has only gotten worse over the last decade, he has not missed a day, which is pretty cool. We saw the first Wasteland Weekend car cruise in that one. There was maybe a half a dozen cars. It's kind of amazing how much Wastelanders have been inspired by other Wastelanders to bring more and more vehicles every year. So 6 years, 6 cars in the original is pretty nuts. And of course, the first group photo. Group photo has been a thing that Wasteland does every single year. It's pretty cool to see how that's expanded. So seeing this first group of people get together in their costumes was pretty rad. A couple things that we don't see in that one. The Juggers were Wasteland's first tribe. So there weren't tribes in 2010, but the Juggers showed up and they camped together. They all had a similar look, and so they were kind of a de facto tribe. And if I remember right, I wasn't there, but I think they did a presentation of Jugger, which is based on The Blood of Heroes, if you guys have ever seen that movie. But I don't think they had full teams, so they kind of showed off what the game could look like. And you heard Jared's voice in that doing the promo. He's got an amazing movie voice. And what's really cool is Jared and a few others put together a bunch of audio clips together to create the backbone of Wasteland Radio, which is broadcast from site every year that Wasteland has been a thing. So that's pretty rad. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so we're going to move on to 2011, which was my first year. I showed up there a few days early. Which was kind of amazing because back then, if you showed up even a couple days early, there was almost no one there. So I remember pulling up and there being maybe a dozen people on site, a few spatterings of camps here and there. It was just really surreal. And I haven't seen anything like it since, even though I was almost a week early last year or 2 years ago. There were still so many people there. So it's really wild. In 2011, I've been able to see the whole thing rise up out of the desert and then get dismantled on the last day, which the cleanup was a lot quicker back then too. So another thing that was really interesting about 2011 is I kept waiting for everyone to show up, but there were trailers broken, there were drivers missing, communication was slow, and somehow everyone pulled it off, which was pretty amazing. So here we go. This is the 2011 Wasteland Weekend highlights reel.
saw hate. I saw rage. I saw decadence. And I saw sin and fear. Therefore, they who dwell on the earth were scorched, and few men are left. We are those few.
Okay, that was 2011. Pretty awesome. All right, so I got a few comments that came in. Yeah, I know I tried to do a simultaneous thing to YouTube. I thought I canceled it, but I apologize to anyone sitting on YouTube. Please find your way here. I don't know what I'm doing. That's what it comes down to. Adam Chilson says 2011. That's a Dead Hand track? Question. Yes, that was Dead Hand Project, and they were the song for the first one, which is pretty awesome. That's the song called Dejected, and because it's so long, it made for one of the longest highlight reels that we've ever done, which is pretty great. Ember says, "Oh wow, the stage is so little. I know it was on the back of like this little trailer." I remember the wood was rotted out and it was rusty, so if you tripped on the rotten wood, you got tetanus, which was pretty great. Tim Cottage says this video brings back some memories. He's been one of the leads on the build crew the whole time, which is pretty amazing. Leslie says, Bloody Heroes, what a great movie. Greg says, I will say it's wild seeing how much the standard for costuming has risen, and that's one of my thoughts too, is not that the costumes were bad that year, they were great, but the rallying cry of like more dirt and Wastelanders being inspired by other Wastelanders has amped up the costuming so much over the years. It's really incredible. Adam adds in, how many times did we blow the generator for the stage with those grinders? I remember at least one or two. Yeah, we were just doing a live show and suddenly no music or lights or anything. Pretty great. Scott says 5 mile an hour speed limit. Yeah, there was no speed limit back then. We were kind of, we were in the real apocalypse. You could do whatever you want, you know? Chops in the Scorpion Truck says Tim Cottage. Brett's in the house saying love it, and that's the video that convinced me to come. Well, thanks, dude. I've heard that a lot over the years, that the highlights reels brought some people to come. But you know what's pretty wild is the We Are Wasteland videos brought a whole different group of people. You know, like the highlight reels are always made to be intense, to be a little bit on the commercial side, so like to sell tickets, right? But then the We Are Wasteland series talks about the heart and the people and the love, and I think that brought in a whole different class of people, which is pretty rad. Thank you, Tom Kirkham. Thanks, Tom Kirkham, for putting the link in the YouTube chat. I really appreciate that, dude. Carol Wright, thanks. I appreciate your love. You're saying you're doing awesome. Yeah, Dead Hand Project was the very first band to play Wasteland Weekend, says Jared Butler. And it was all DJs before that in 2010 and mostly in 2011. So pretty cool, guys. We're doing great. Oh, and that was the Dukes the Nuke, my tribe, in the opening scene, doing the driving the Land Rover, the Land Cruiser, Toyota Land Cruiser, down the mountain into the city, which I thought was pretty fun. That was one of only two opening scenes, like almost theatrical scenes, to start the highlight reels over the years, which is pretty great. Oh shoot, I don't know why my notes here keep jumping down to the bottom, but here we go. Okay, so 2011, we got a few firsts that we haven't mentioned yet. One, the gates that separated the new theme zone from the general camping. 2010 was just kind of camp wherever. This is the year that Adam Chilson finally got to build his Road Warrior-esque tire wall gates, and inside was all themed area, 100% themed, no modern cars, no Coleman tents, although we still had a few, to be honest. But the idea was when you're inside the gates, you're in the movie, and I think it really pulled it off from day one. The first tower which inspired me to build a Duke's Tower, which is a story we're not going to get into tonight. But the first tower was at the Jugger Camp, which is pretty great. Those guys have been leading the way for years, which is really amazing. This was the first year for some really big legacy tribes, including the Mutant Hunters, the Last Chance Casino, Legio 10, Legio X, Legio, and of course Road Rash, among so many more. And in that video, we see our first overseas tourists. They came from Japan. They didn't have costumes, but they flew in, and they got a special permit to be able to come and hang out with everybody, which is always really fun. Okay, and let's see. Also, we see a rocket launch in there. That's DJ Liquid Sex Drive, who some of us know as Jason. For many years of Wasteland, he would set off a rocket on Sunday as everyone was cleaning up, which is pretty great. We also have the Thunderdome that showed up for the first time. These guys did a hell of a job with it. It was kind of like loosely choreographed fights, a whole lot of theater, kind of akin to like pro wrestling in a way, which was pretty great. But they killed it for a few years until a change happened, but we'll get there. The car cruise is still small. It's 6 cars, but we see a 2-man Wasteland Communication Corps tribe in the pickup, and I'm pretty sure there's the car with all the people piled on top of it that ended up being called the fuel-injected suicide machine. I might have that wrong, but those are the firsts that I picked out anyway. A couple other thoughts, though. There was so much space in Wasteland City, right? It was like one giant courtyard. We really spread our loins in a way. I'm gonna get weird tonight. Just a warning. Let's see. Oh, in the early years, there was only one type of entertainment scheduled at a time. So if there was a band, there was no jugger. If there was a Thunderdome match, there were no DJs. It was one thing at a time, one stage, so that the crowd could kind of move and get to see everything. That did not stay that way for long. Yeah, one other thought, it's just so amazing. I didn't know everybody back then. It was my first year. I knew a few people, but there's so many familiar faces in 2011 that I didn't know, people that I would meet later on that have been coming for year after year. Oh yeah, Jared says, technically we've had a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit since 2010. Can't say everyone's always followed it though. Yeah, I guess it was a little bit easier to break the rules back then, as Dave DeFore knows. Oh no, you don't break the rules, you make the rules. Yeah. Carl writes, Reach? Shoot, now I don't know what I said. I got your name right. That's awesome. Tim Cottis says, Tower War. Sharky's here. And let's see, what else? Okay, let's get into it. So next up is 2012, basically my second year. And I have no lead-in for this, so here we go.
It's been cool. It's been a good community to be part of.
Alcohol and mayhem.
So many of you wanna do your own thing. Nobody wants to go in between. Everybody wants to be a rock queen. Nobody wants to pay for the dream. I promise you it is not so easy for all these people just to have it for free. Everybody has to reach for that dream and give back something, if you know what I mean. And the sunset massacre went into the night, and no one noticed because it was not their fight. Everyone around watched music die at night. They were out to blame for the sunset massacre. That's right.
And it's such a great advancement for the first and second years.
All we have left is a promise of false dreams. All we have left is
In this city, they had houses with numbers, families with names, tradition, money, things that they took for granted and destroyed.
What do you like about this year? Dirt.
Because it was not their rights. Everyone around helped kill music that night.
every year, everything just keeps building up. It's a runaway project.
Incredible experience. It's amazing.
Okay, how was that? That was Sunset Massacre by, as they were known at the time, All Hail the Crimson King, who has become the unofficial house band of Wasteland Weekend. Pretty great. Let's see what we got here. Vector Helix says it's starting to look really legit at this point. I think so too. I think everyone really got inspired by 2011, and a lot of things got figured out along the way. Adam Chilson says, "Hey, Tim Cottage, is that your talentless shit band playing?" Which is a great joke. Attack got called the talentless shit band in one of their reviews. I think it was actually a review for Wasteland or their new album. I forget. But they ran with it. They were like, yes, talentless shit band. So they kind of market themselves that way now. But man, they're so much fun. And let's just say this. For how many people crowd the stage to see Attack play at Wasteland every year, we know that they are not talentless, they are not shit, and they are a band. Scott Todd calls out the Battle Toaster, which is always great. Carl Bartoszynski is here. Hey, buddy. Almost forgot I made those archery target mannequins. You know what? Shooting mannequins is second best to shooting zombies. I'm glad that you didn't do targets. The mannequins were great. Cosmetic Mechanic comes in with fire. Yes, there was fire everywhere. I mean, this is when things really started to light up, right? Adam Chilson, the Atomic Cafe. Hold up, was this? Yes, this was the first year for the new and improved Atomic Cafe. Before that, it was like a little kiosk, like a Charlie Brown, the Doctor is in kiosk, where one person could get one drink at a time. And it's a good thing that the Atomic Cafe got built, because now there's room for two people in the front, and then there's side doors in case major crowds show up. It's been amazing. The Atomic Cafe is such an icon at this point, and it's been absolutely amazing to see it evolve with new accoutrement, if you would. Let's see what else we got here. Next, it says Tim Cottage. Brett Rude, 2012, my first year. Yes, it was, sir. And it's so good to have you. You've become a huge icon there at Wasteland. Okay, so a couple other firsts. That was the year that the command center was built, and along with that came the info tower, where people could ask questions and get some real information from someone who might know a little bit, and the body shop, which is pretty great. The body shop was Wasteland's answer to people who weren't quite Wasteland ready, or just needed a little bit extra to get them past Wasteland Basic. It's a place where you could get your makeup done, get your hair done. Or in the early days, did a lot more costuming. I think we've done a little bit more in later years too, just to kind of like help you work your accessories out and that kind of thing. APOC Nation showed up that year, and that was not a tribe, but a collection of tribes. We'll call it a mega block, where several tribes kind of created a theme zone within the theme zone, and they were the first de facto entertainment district of Wasteland City, which was pretty great. Smashbots, the motorized car weapons wielding things, that's really fun. I mean, they fit in so well, and it's been great seeing Smashbots keep coming year after year. The Car Cruise now has dozens of vehicles, and of course, with the even though there was a speed limit, we get to see a few spinouts, which is pretty great. Those are not allowed anymore. This is the year that Dystopian Slut Militia took over the pit, which is the DJ area. And I think they did a hell of a job. I know they came with plenty of problems along the way, but it was really cool to see the pit take on a whole different persona that year. And this was my first year seeing Aesthetic Meat Front, which I think I was just slack-jawed the entire time trying to shoot footage, because they put on a show unlike anything I've ever seen before. And of course, by the next time I saw them, I was just a complete fan, which is kind of amazing. Oh my God, it's just, if you haven't seen Aesthetic Meat Front yet, make sure the next time they're there, you see them. Okay, next up is 2013, which of course came with a lot of improvements. And I'm going to let Wasteland Weekend co-founder Karl Bartoszynski tell you why it was his favorite year.
Hi guys, it's Karl Bartoszynski. My favorite year was 2013. That was the first year that I dressed up as ferrous oxide. The 2 years before that, I just wore boring khaki work clothes. That was the first year that the Wasteland stage was a thing. That was the first year that the Mushroom Cloud Lounge was a thing, and there was a hookah lounge that year, which was really great. I spent some time in there. I was also very broke that year, so I really didn't want to focus on anything other than having fun. And one of my favorite things that year, Ron Griffith hooked me up with a quad. So I actually had a vehicle that year. I've never really had a vehicle any other year besides that. So that was my favorite year.
Welcome to Wasteland Weekend 2013. Bigger, longer, thicker.
Makes me wanna hide. Seems what I love just gets denied. So claustrophobic, can't you see? I need some peaches with my crack. Wanna feed what desire, so exposed up with my fire. It's my life, do what I want this time. That's right, no stopping me tonight. No regrets, no shame, no rules to this game. No dice, oh, I'm coming alive. Got a reservation. I'm gonna get lit up, a price fake and slice up. I got a head full of steam, I'm busting out right at the seams. It makes me wanna fight. Seems what I have, I can't deny. So terroristic, can't you see? I got my peaches and my crave. I feel it, I have it, my habit, dynamic, original sexuality. That's right, there's just no stopping me. I take what I want, not afraid to flaunt what I have inside of me. Got a reservation, now I'm gonna have a ball now. Reservation, going sugar through the halls now. Reservations, reservations, reservations for debauchery. It makes me wanna fight. Seems what I have, I can't deny. So terroristic, can't you see? I got my peaches and my crave. I feel it, I have it, my habit, dynamic, original sexuality. That's right, there's just no stopping me. I take what I want, not afraid to flaunt what I have inside of me. Wanna feed what desire, so exposed up with my fire. It's my life, do what I want this time. That's right, no stopping me tonight. No regrets, no shame, no rules to this game. No dice, oh, I'm coming alive. Got a reservation for debauchery. Yeah.
Oh man, check out Jim the Tank Dorsey as Humongous reigning over the wasteland to close out that video, huh? Pretty cool. That song was RSVP by The Objects. They put on a hell of a show. Oh my God. Attendance that year was about 1,300, and that was Nathan Chops Bailey introing it with the it's bigger, longer, thicker. Pretty great. Because we added Thursday, making it a 4-day event, which was great because when it's a 3-day event, a weekend event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Everyone leaves on Sunday, so you only get to party Friday night and Saturday. But adding Thursday, now you have a lot more time to party. Coming into the room, David DeBoer, Choice, man. Thanks for coming, man. Good to see you. Jen Hart, hey, how's it going? Aesthetic Meat Front is just the ultimate test for a new Wastelander. And Kevin Sharkey coming in with seeing Aesthetic Meat Front without context for the first time. And I think that was my face, yeah. Let's see, what else we got? Mike Kemling's in the house, what's up? Hey, Kevin Sawyers. Dude, Kevin Sawyers and Mike Kemling, you guys, I don't even know how to say it. Your camps are just amazing. That's all I got to say about that. Blaine says, was this when y'all started doing the opening gate skits, like a Universal stage show? Yes, it was. And that was the first mayor of Wasteland City cutting the ribbon of the city gates to open it up, which was pretty great. Ember says, this was an epic turning year for me too. My God, yeah. We the Rust Devils, Brett Rude here, called 2013 the year the devil came to the Waste, and it certainly was. Man, you guys inspired a lot of people. Because that was the year that the Rust Devils showed up and brought their bounty hunting game to help newbies meet people, which was an awesome idea. It was taking an existing game, adapting it for anybody to kind of come and participate, and it ended up leading to more widespread tribe missions over the years, which has been amazing. Also in this video, we see the Wasteland Communication Corps expanded the Wasteland Post Office, which they started sending mail throughout Wasteland City and beyond, which is pretty cool. Those guys just keep bringing it every year. It's amazing. The Boulay Brothers, I think that's who we saw in there. That one of their first shows that they hosted at Wasteland. The Gladiators, they did their first battles in the Thunderdome before they got their cage, which is pretty great. It was a really awesome combining of two different ideas into one thing. We had Wasteland's first wedding, officiated by none other than the Lord Humongous, which is pretty great. And the Mushroom Cloud Lounge showed up for the first time, which was the first publicly accessible tribe-run area. And that sparked a whole lot of tribe hospitality in the years to come. I think, this is where people are really starting to experiment with a whole lot of different stuff. I don't know, you guys are just amazing. That's all I got to say. And of course, we have the new Wasteland stage, which put a world-class stage up in front of all the Wastelanders, finally replacing all those old rotten flatbed trailers. And yeah, the stage is still holding up today. It's grown with the event, more and more fire effects, more lights, the whole deal. And that's been amazing. So Adam Chilson and crew, you guys did an amazing job putting that together. All right, any other comments here? Let's see. Megan Hotshot of Dukes and Nukes says, this is the year I met Grim and made him dance around the bonfire with me. That's pretty great. Awesome. Scott Gronsky, hey bud, he says, love the intro to the RSVB tune with the wah-wah guitar. Hell yeah, we all do, man. That song is so great. They put on a great thing. Ron Griffith in the house. The Godfather has arrived. This was your first year, right? 2014? Or was it earlier than that? I can't remember. But yeah, Ron Griffith, known as the Godfather of the Wasteland, he owns Phoenix Garage, and he just made a ton of Wasteland vehicles, really like filling out Wasteland City with all these great cars. All right, so next up is 2014, which is the only highlights reel that I didn't personally edit, because this is the year I put my energy into the We Are Wasteland video, which was worth it, I think. Instead, Rain Vasquez stepped in to cut this one, and he did a hell of a job. Here we go.
Cut off.
right. So, of course, that was Attack. I think your guys are officially known as Attack by now with their song Fuel Injected Suicide Machine, which is that's around the time, Tim, fill me in here. Was that around the time that you guys really started writing specifically for Wasteland, kind of not just metal, but apoca rock? Let us know in the comments. Attendance that year was around 1,800 people, and I think it really started to fill in. I mean, every year it feels like it's starting to fill in, right? So a couple of firsts. Now, Wasteland has always felt like stepping onto a movie set, at least as long as I've gone. But this was the year that tribe missions went widespread, which kind of created a first-person video game feel at the event. Now, of course, the Rust Devils game started this, but now it felt like you could go anywhere and get a mission. So, fun fact, I was one of the people that helped conceptualize how tribe missions would work early on. And this is kind of a fun story that I love telling. It was inspired by Michael Robinson. He's better known as the captain of the Elite Guard, or at least he was then. And he pitched a short film that year, which ended up being Don't Fuck with the Guard. I think some of you guys have seen it. If you haven't, look it up. It's kind of fun, and it's really short anyway. But he asked me to talk to Jared and get permission to shoot. I walked away for what felt like less than a minute. I mean, literally, I walked over here, and then I walked back in a different direction. And Michael stopped me, and he said, just like a video non-player character, an NPC, he said, "Hey, have you had a chance to talk to Jared yet?" I was like, hey, I just walked away. How could I possibly have had time? But I got such a kick out of it because it felt like a side mission in Fallout. You know, like you get the mission, you leave, you haven't completed it, but you come back and they just say, "Have you finished the mission yet?" Anyway, I thought it would be really cool to kind of bring that to the event. Again, inspired by the Rust Devils, I just thought it would be really great to get full integration all over the place, which was, I think it's really paid off because the tribe missions have been a great way for people to stay busy during the day, meet more people, have tribes interact with each other, which brings in lore later on. It's all good stuff. Another first, the Gladiators built their cage this year, so they had their own Gladiator Emporium to shed blood in, which was great. And something really unique about this particular highlights reel is it's before Fury Road, but we had our first chromings because Jared and Carl and a few other Wastelanders get to see an early cut of Fury Road. And so they knew about the chromings, and they chromed at Wasteland before the movie even came out, which was really cool. I had no idea what we were doing. I was like, what the hell are you guys doing? But I shot it, so that was cool. Greg Stephenson says this is the first Wasteland Weekend video I ever saw, about a year after it came out. Probably the most iconic Wasteland jam, though, in my honest opinion. I agree. I mean, Fuel Injected Suicide Machine. He mentions all the things. Toe Cutter. And I think, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, this isn't necessarily like your Mad Max, right? This is kind of like you at Wasteland. Like, the Toe Cutter is a guy who attends Wasteland. He knows who you are. Is it that meta, or am I just making stuff up? I don't know. Kevin Sawyer says that one was on repeat the whole time I was building for my first trip in 2015, which is amazing. Tim says, we always wrote apocalyptic themed songs, but Wasteland really brought out the best in us and gave us a ton of inspiration. I think that's so cool. I mean, I've even written apocalypse songs based on Wasteland, so it's pretty cool. Brett Rude says, is that when you guys started doing your gun running? Yes, of course it is. The Dukes of the Nuke, we started inviting people to just run these airsoft guns to other camps. And after they completed the mission, they'd come back and get a Dukes of the Nuke cap, which was pretty fun. Frenzilla says, cage fights. And yes, the cage fights are amazing. I think it's so much fun watching those guys pound each other. And what's really cool is, we've heard septic tanks say, it's okay to hurt your friends. It's not okay to injure them. And I think they take that really seriously where, they're out there wailing on each other, but they're best friends, which is pretty great. There's no enemies in the Gladiators, which is great. Okay. Oh man, I'm talking a lot. This is more than I ever talk. How you guys doing? We're about halfway through. At least we're halfway through linearly in a way. And I'm just going to take a quick second to thank my Patreon subscribers for supporting the channel and all the videos I create on the Apocalypse Post. You guys make it so possible to make more content more often, so thank you. And I'd like to, oops, wrong button. And I'd like to invite everybody that if you're into this kind of content, that you consider joining the Patreon, because it really helps me to be able to take the time and do this kind of stuff. And of course, if you join the Patreon, you get first dibs on not only seeing the videos early, but also some Apocalypse Post swag I've got in the works. And of course, that's if Critical Bigs will ever get on it. Ever. Just kidding. I love you, buddy. You busy, beautiful man. And of course, if Patreon's not right for you, just make sure that you're subscribed here and on youtube.com/The Apocalypse Post, and that'll make me just as happy. All right, we're going to get right back to the show here. Darn it, I keep hitting the wrong button. I got my notes here to the side, and if I hit that button, it just jumps me to the wrong spot. All right, here we go. Next up is 2015. This is one of my favorite years for so many reasons, but I think things really amped up as Wasteland City started to fill in. We started to really see defined roads. The whole world had seen Fury Road at this point, and the War Boys came out in full force. I also, now that I look back on it, I wish I would edit more like this opening scene, just because there's always so much to show, and I get to multiply it this way. Anyway, here we go. right, so that was a huge shout out to George Miller at the end there. While he's yet to attend, he's been such a huge supporter of Wasteland since day one, and I think that's so special. Obviously there's a whole lot of copyright stuff, and I don't know, it gets confusing, but the fact that he's behind this project has been such a boon, such a benefit to all of us Wastelanders that we just get to go out and celebrate all things Mad Max, and he's got our back in it, which is great. That song was Speedcraft by a guy named Dean Wolf. This is the first and only year not using a Wasteland band for the backing track. I think the song was great, but I wish I had kept that up because it would be so cool if every highlights reel had a Wasteland band in it. Attendance that year was around 2,000. I think it was just over 2,000, which was pretty cool. Got a couple comments coming in here. Kevin Sawyers says, seems like 2015 is when everyone really showed up. Hell of a party. I think so many things came together in 2015. Which was so cool. Vector Helix says, this was my first year. I was a nervous wreck, and it was so hot this year. My God, the Mojave can be so brutal sometimes, and the heat is just the beginning, which is wild. Adam Chilson says, this is the first year Death Guild brought the big dome to the wastes. We have Spud and Aries to thank for that. They made the connection there, and it really amped up the Thunderdome feel, just being able to participate. You can sign up, you can fight in the Thunderdome, which is so cool, and they really do it like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome style with the bungee cords and the people climbing the cage, and of course we add our own 80s metal rock to the party, but I think that's just great. Ember Brennan Sparks says, 3 Teeth and all the War Boys. Yeah, I know, it's just so much happening here. Tom Kirkham says, it was the first year I saw anything about Wasteland and I was hooked instantly. So cool. Blaine, same thing. This was the first year I found out about it and began my research. So glad to have you, man. And same thing, Paul Dunn. This was the first year I found out about Wasteland. Finally made it down to Canada. I feel like, there was this perfect storm of not just the festival getting better, but also people talking about it more and more. And I think the word got out there and just more people were able to participate, which is so cool. Tim Cotter says, fire suit guy. Oh my God. Yeah, that not only does he look rad, but that weird dance thing he does. Oh, so cool. And he became this mythic figure that year. Everyone was trying to figure out who the hell he was. So much so that the next year in 2016, I found him again at the fire and I followed him through Wasteland, super sneaky with my camera. And he just walked so casually, so quietly, all by himself. And he got outside the Wasteland gates, made a turn near Captain Walker's camp, and I lost him, and he was gone. I have no idea who he is to this day. I think someone mentioned his name one time, but I just don't know. Steve Hornbeck says, love that old footage. Good to see you here, man. Let's see. Greg also says, I found about Wasteland in 2015, and for sure, though, because I had a post-apocalyptic themed doom, metal, and stoner rock radio show at my school at the same time. What a coincidence. That's great. Oh, okay. Fire suit guy's name's Triangles. Oh, and what was it? He was originally 2013. Am I a couple of years off? Well, anyway, he was there. Frenzilla also says first time seeing it. Steve says good old heat stroke that year and couldn't poop for a while. Man, you know what? The desert does weird things to our bowels, and it's almost like a badge of honor when you first get to go sit in a stinky Porto and relieve yourself. This was a good show, right? You guys having a good time? Oh, man. Let's see. Lucas says, hey, Mike, I hope you're living all right, brother. Miss you. I hope to catch up again soon. You too, man. I love your face. Aaron says, class of 2015. This is a lot of Wastelanders' first year. Hell yeah, this is great. Let's see. And Jen Hart says, pretty sure 2015 was my first year working in command, and you've been nailing it ever since. And Vector says 2015 has to be the hottest year. You could be right about that. I know we've kissed 100 degrees plus a few times, and man, it is brutal every single time. And there's no getting around it, and especially if the wind isn't there, and there's just no reprise, which is why places like the Mushroom Cloud Lounge became so important, because they gave you shade, they gave you a place to hang out during the day and just get a little break from it. Man, So for me, this is the first highlights vid that really shows the scale of Wasteland Weekend growing. Huge crowds at the main stage, hundreds of Wasteland vehicles, camps getting bigger, the whole city lighting up at night. And this highlights video stands out to me as the most colorful. I don't know if it's just, my camera settings or the way I edited it, but I really feel like this is the year that there was just so many lights at night and lots of color. It just really made the whole city dynamic. And of course, it's around this time that multiple entertainment started happening and tribe entertainment started to happen, and there was just too much to capture everything. I don't know how you're supposed to see everything anymore. It just can't, Where am I? I lost myself again. What year are we on? I don't even know. Oh, okay, here we go. We had our first drone footage in this highlights reel. It was shot by Octo Films out of LA. Thank you guys. We had, of course, the first War Boys and the Wasteland War Rig, the D's ship, and the first swimsuit contest. I'm pretty sure. I think they did something smaller the year before, but for those that don't know, longtime Wastelander Paul Miller and his crew actually built the D's out of the scrapyard remains of the Exxon Valdez from Waterworld. It just became this huge set piece, probably the biggest art piece at Wasteland we had at the time, which was just absolutely amazing. The Duke's initiation ceremony, where I first got to witness massive role-playing happening. The Skullduggers came by. I think they were angry that we stole their truck. They had kidnapped War Chief Karim at some point. And anyway, they came by looking for restitution, and we sent them on their way because we were in the middle of our ceremony. Good times. Anyway, I feel like that's where the shenanigans really started happening, was in 2015. And the Dauntless Express, they brought the events board and tribe missions. Again, this might have been a little bit earlier, but this is the first time capturing it in the highlights reel. And I think that has been a huge benefit to all Wastelanders to have that map, the events, times, and to know where to find tribe missions, which is really cool. All right, so next up is 2016. Once again, I got nothing, so here we go.
Run! But you can't hide! Yeah! You're welcome!
It's hot, fun, out of control, and we are at Wasteland Weekend.
This year is much bigger and better than last year.
It's the one thing I worked my ass off all year long for. Couldn't ask for anything more.
I think what makes this special is the immersion. We all are part of it.
The heart of Wasteland is always going to be Mad Max.
Fury Road really got everybody inspired. It never disappoints.
So every year, Wasteland Weekend, the theme is an amnesty event. Everybody comes together from across the waste for a peaceful gathering, just to celebrate being alive.
All of these tribes like to interact with one another, run tribe missions, and see if they can cause up a little mayhem, a little shenanigans.
And now, so many tribes do a similar thing, and it's amazing to see, and I love it.
We barter, we share, we love one another. It's been an awesome atmosphere.
Because this has become like a family reunion, but actually worth going to.
Everybody's so friendly. And come in, have a beer, hang around. Oh, it's amazing, really, really.
There's no better place for the post-apocalyptic arts and music and the festivities that go on. This community has completely brought us in and made this our home.
Wasteland Weekend is kind of the mecca of post-apocalyptic wares, vendors, and culture. There's stuff here that you won't find anywhere else in the world.
I feel like I get a good tan when I'm here, but when I get home, it all comes off in the wash, which is always a super big bummer.
And congratulations, sir, on your new membership. A round of applause, please.
This place is an oasis among the desert. The cars, the people, you create these bonds with fellow fans.
Wasteland Weekend surpasses everything I could have thought it was. I am just blown away by the people. It's very impressive.
Oh, fucking amazing. Am I allowed to cuss? Fucking amazing.
I tell you what, here's secret. This is what I tell you. I tell you this, you have to be a special kind of crazy to do this shit. A special type of crazy.
That was Septic Tank closing it out, naming the highlight reel that year. And I believe Attack ended up using Special Kind of Crazy in a future song, which is so rad. That song was Furious Fixation by Dollskin, who was an all-girl band, and I don't even know if they were old enough to be there, to be quite honest. Maybe they got special permission. But I've got to say, you know what? Women might be a slight minority at Wasteland, but the girls who do show up, show up. You know what I mean? Attendance that year was around 3,200 people. So pretty cool there. Really starting to grow. Okay, so we got some comments here. Let's see. Kevin Sawyers, I think I would take the heat over the W we had in 2016. And that's so true. We had Wasteland's first haboob. I think it was an official haboob, which was a huge sandstorm. We all got alerts on our phones. Good times there. Scott says it was real hot. So we had hot and wind. Steve agrees. He says the 2016, the W destroyed everything. I, however, decided to borrow and sleep in my mom's van. Life pro tip. Yep. Vector Helix says the silver lining to the days that are hot as fuck in the nightlife is hold on. That the days that are hot is the nightlife is way funner, nice and warm all the way to 4 a.m., which is so true. When the sun goes down and you feel the temperature drop and you get to like put on a layer or just relax and finally, just be comfortable. It's amazing. Scott Todd says, who hasn't kidnapped Grim at this point, which is hilarious because, yeah, a lot of people. Greg comes in with some great advice here. He says, one of the biggest skills at Wasteland Weekend and most good nerd events is learning how to, one, or A, accept that you can't make it to everything, and B, not let that overwhelm you. I can speak. Anyway, if you guys haven't drunk yet, I have been during the video, so things are gonna get fun. Scott says, after 3 years of Jen Hart trying to get me to go, I went for the first time in 2016. Things have never been the same since. Isn't that so true? Neil Macbeth, the explosion of cars that year was insane. Yeah, the vehicles, man. You guys just kept it going, didn't you? Let's see. Vector Helix says last year at H Park. Yeah, how crazy is that? We finally outgrew H Park in California City, Wasteland Weekend, and bought a new piece of property after that, which is pretty great. Lucas Porter, I miss kicking people in the head. Yes, sir. Let's see. Tom says, I wonder how Grimm's doing out in the waste. Loved learning about his exit from the video the other day. Oh, thanks for tuning in. I thought that was really fun. And, you know, I always get nervous posting long stuff like that and like this. But if you guys keep watching, I'll keep making it. I think it's really fun to kind of really dive in and just let it be as long as it's going to be, you know? People bring in Goldcrest for the first time and Wasted Saints for the first time. Pretty rad. Two huge tribes that have really brought it year after year after year. The Cruel Bus, didn't it end up dying, the Cruel Bus, Lucas? Didn't the Cruel Bus end up dying? I forget. Anyway, moving on. So, yeah, that's the first time seeing Goldcrest Hunting Club, and I believe that was the first major integrated tribe mission. You couldn't do the Goldcrest tribe mission until you had completed the Rust Devil's Assassin game. And then you would take your finger that you earned from the kill over to Goldcrest, tell your hunting story, and you could be named a member of the club, which became such an in-demand, exclusive place to be. Of course, this is the first time seeing Fish Stick, the guy who's dancing in the old scuba gear on the D's stage. He's been a fan favorite ever since. And the D's became the backdrop to the pit area. I thought this was so cool. We had the pit and we had the D's, right? And then one year they just kind of turned them toward each other, and the D's became the backdrop. And some years the DJ has been up top, and some years it's been on a boat nearby. But combining those things, I think, has been great, and it gives a good way to use the D's throughout the weekend, not just for the swimsuit contest. And then there was a sign in there. I didn't catch any footage, or maybe I did, but didn't put in the highlights reel. Vernon Wells, who plays Wes in Road Warrior, made an appearance at Carl Bartoszinski's booth. So Carl, at this point, had stepped down from Wasteland Management, but still attends with his shop every year. He's got all sorts of great Wasteland wear. And last year even hosted my Apocalypse Post swag box, where people could find some Apocalypse Post stuff, which was kind of cool, and I thank you for that. All right, so we're going to move on to 2017. By 2017, Wasteland had outgrown H Park, which sparked a few changes. And we're going to let Wasteland's co-founder and event director, Jared Butler, tell you all about it. Here we go.
Hey Wastelanders, I'm excited to be looking through these videos over the years with you guys. And I want to thank Makeshift for making that happen and the Apocalypse Post. I've been asked to talk about my favorite year of Wasteland, which after 10 years is really hard to do. Every year has had something special. Every year has had its challenges. Obviously, the first year we were there in 2010 was kind of amazing, just that we did it and people showed up. And I remember 2015, our Fury Road year was fantastic and really was a new burst of creativity for everyone. And just all the things that happened, things that were added and people that came and went, and personal things and professional things and bands and camps and new activities and traditions that started. But if I had to pick one, 2017 was our first year at the property that we now call Wasteland Valley. And we had worked so hard to have a permanent home for the Wasteland and this big, beautiful space, and getting to show it to everyone for the first time after we put so much in to get it. And the build crew had built the amazing new guard towers, which were so much bigger than what we had before. We had the new Flaming Wasteland sign across from them, and we had new official entertainment zones at the Wasted Saints stage and the Bombshell stage. And everybody just took it up a level, as they always do. It just had a special feel that year. And it's not like the year before wasn't great. Our final farewell to H Park in 2016 was fantastic. But going up on those hills right near the event site and being able to look down at just the sheer size of Wasteland and just how cool everything was. Not to mention the car crews in that big field by the side of the hills there, and how awesome that was. Just really sticks in my mind. And the weather was excellent that year too, which we don't always get that lucky. Not that weather challenges aren't memorable. 2016, I think, was when we had that big dust storm where everybody's phones started going off with emergency messages that a dust storm was coming in, and we've had others since then. But anyway, I think that's my favorite year. Thanks to all of you guys for being part of this and for populating our videos with such amazing costumes and cars and memorable faces. And thanks to Mike and the crew for getting it all for history. And let's keep making more of it.
Anytime someone asks what Wasteland is, I don't know what to say. Definitely expect the madness.
Hey guys, okay, that was Under Attack by Non-Electric. What a great song for 2017. Pretty great. That year, attendance was 3,800 people, which is a lot. That's a lot of people. Okay, so Richard Klein comes in with 2017 was the first year I said, I'll go next year. Man, when you decide you're going to go, it's like you get nervous, you get inspired, you have no idea what to expect. and it's really it's a special time when you're gearing up for your first Wasteland. I wish I could still do that. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us want to experience Wasteland for the first time again. Aaron Jared Ginger says, Tim Cottage, first year of the Baron dancing with you. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds great. Blaine says, after 2 years of studying, I took the jump and ventured out solo from Oklahoma, knowing no one and riding down the 40 with strangers on the internet. I think it was the year before you guys mentioned the Great 40 Migration was a thing. And I think that's pretty rad. People coming from across the country, a bunch of Wastelanders got together to caravan together to Wasteland, which is so cool. Lucas says, there's an old Jugger clip of me and Brian White? How do you pronounce that, Lucas? Fighting in this video, which is pretty great. We're hitting each other pretty super hard that match, which is great. Teal Scott, a faceless merchant appears. How cool is that? That has become such an amazing thing, the faceless merchants. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Franzilla says, Tink and the Postman were born this year when she dragged the hubby, which is great. Daniel, this is Dickie, says, the first year I had a night off. Jen, Mike, Tim, and so many others made it amazing. Also, I met Alice over 2 years together and still strong. Oh my God, that's awesome. That's so cool, Dickie. You met her at Wasteland and you've been together 2 years. So cool. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I wonder how many Wastelanders have met their significant other at Wasteland. And I mean, if you're into this kind of thing, that's the perfect place to meet someone, right? Like, you don't have to explain to your significant other, oh yeah, and I do this thing in the desert. Lucas says, Wes and the motorcycle chariot. Yeah, didn't the motorcycle chariot win first prize that year or something? Because that thing was pretty badass. It won best motorcycle, says Teal Scott. That's great. Let's see. What else? We'll just leave it at that. I'll catch up later. Okay, so a couple of firsts for 2017, as Jared mentioned. It was on the new location, but it also went to 5 days, adding Wednesday to the event. And of course, went the new gates, which had to be taller and wider to fit all the huge vehicles people keep building. And I think there's still a bunch that can't fit through the new gates. So Adam, get on it. How tall can we go, right? This was also the year that I produced the short documentary Building Wasteland, paying tribute to all the build crew volunteers and all the hard work that goes into an event like this, and it was the perfect year to do it. Not since 2011 did I catch so much of the build. It's just really hard to get there early enough to really catch anything anymore. But because of the what am I looking for? The sandworms. Oh man, I can't remember. Tremors, because of the tremors, you know what I mean. The sand was really soft that year, so they had to put down roads, which was in itself just an amazing thing. Of course, we learned about hot pants that year, and just so many new builds. Build crew, you guys did an amazing job that year. The first official side stages with the Wasted Saints and Nuclear Bombshells stage. So Wasted Saints had been invited from the tent city to come and just do this thing for Wasteland Weekend. And the Nuclear Bombshells have been doing vaudeville-style acts for years now. And this was the first time they had their own official stage, which was great. And of course, that aerialist rig near the main stage popped up, and that's really fun. It's just kind of a neat backdrop or four-drop. Four-drop? Is that a word? We'll call it a word. That's the first time the aerialist four-drop was there in front of the main stage, and I think it's really fun when they're out there practicing like during a show. I think that's so cool. And this is the first year we see some new entertainment tribes really bringing it. The Nuke Review Theater, Caution Tape Carnival, among so many more, just brought whole new different things. And of course, the Caution Tape Carnival brought the tallest structure at Wasteland that I've ever seen, making our little dinky Dukes of the Nuke wooden tower look like nothing. No need to even ever bring that back. We just can't compete. But anyway, let's see. Anything else going on here? Scott Todd says 2017 was the year Jen Hart told me I'm literally everywhere at once. Yes, you are, sir. I don't know how. You get around more than I do, which is pretty crazy. Alex Terminate, Wasteland photographer extraordinaire, says 2017 was the year we finally got our Wasteland car there. Congratulations. And you guys look so cool driving that around. Let's see. Tim says, "Don't be giving Adam any ideas." I know. Yeah, just you get to relax a little bit, Adam. I know you can't, but you can. You know what I mean? Graboids is the word for the tremors. Good God, I'm such a bad host. All right, what else? Kevin Sawyer's road crew. Kevin, that's when you really stepped up as leader of the road crew, right? And well, at least you're the one with all the freaking hot pants. So I don't know why anyone has so many hot pants, but yes, you have so many just for this purpose. In case you're working on a post-apocalyptic road crew and the entire crew needs hot pants. That's why we have a whole drawer full of hot pants ready to go. Kevin Sharkey, oh man, dude, he says, my understanding is the Duke's Tower is taller when it's horizontal. Strap down your towers, guys. That's all I got to say. All right, next we're catching up to modern times with 2018, which features a larger-than-life guest somewhere in there. So let's check it out.
Say hello to the wasteland.
Okay, that song was, of course, Say Hello to the Wasteland by Cage 9. They wrote it specifically for their performance that year. And thank you, Tim Cottage, for making sure I knew that they wanted that song as a highlight reel, because it was absolutely perfect. Okay, so Miranda Vaughn is here, and she says about 2017. So we're going back a little bit. That was Samoda's first year. We couldn't imagine how much Wasteland would change our lives. So happy to be part of the family. And we're so happy to have you, Miranda. And also, good work on Ground Zero this year, as well as welcome to anyone who was attending Ground Zero and jumped over to this one right after. I know they were kind of back to back tonight. But yeah, pretty rad. Kevin says, oh no, not leader. I just provided the hot pants. I mean, if there's any reason to vote you in, that would be it, right? Richard Klein says 2018 was the second year. I said, I'll go next year. How many years was it, Richard? Oh, man. Aaron says, hashtag Wasteland Roasted. Good job, Kevin Sharkey. I love that, by the way. Boom. Wasteland Roasted. Scott says 2018 was my first year and was blown away. What else we got here? Tim Cottage, Cage 9. Yeah, those guys are good buddies. Attack and Cage 9, which is pretty amazing. Brian says, my first year with the Canadian Invasion and an art piece I made it into the highlights reel. Freaking love it. Which one was that, Brian? Remind me what your art piece was, because I love Wasteland art. I'm going to take a break here and just talk about this, because there are some amazing, huge things, like super large scale art things, besides the fact that, like, all this stuff takes time. The vehicles take time. The camps take time. These art pieces, just for art's sake, are so cool. And not only that, but on the whole other end of the scale, the small things you guys do, the detail put into, like, jewelry and small decorations and the Wasteland dolls and just all this stuff. It's amazing how much time this stuff takes and how much it really adds to this event. So props to all you guys for all your hard work just creating all this art. It's amazing. Chris Millender says 2018 first year for the Seekers of the Path. 7 first-year newbies met up in Spokane, Washington for the trip. Were you guys all part of the same tribe, just all newbies? I'd love to know how that works, because running a tribe is not easy. So to have 7 strangers must have been quite a challenge. Ember says she got to shave Adam's head that year. I remember catching that, and I was so glad I did. The Den! Yes! All right, so both Blaine and Tim Cottage came out with the Den at the same time. That was so amazing, and props to Road Rash for putting that together. They were like the second real mega block of Wasteland tribes working together to create an entertainment venue. They put together this whole courtyard with bars and entertainment and slag races. For those uninitiated on the slag races, I don't even know what to say about it. They're in there, though. You can find them. Let's see. Teal Scott says, nice makeout session in front of the Jugger banner. I remember catching those guys in the act. It was so dark, and they were just perfect. Oh, my God. The Nuke Bros says, Teal Scott, yeah. Well, they were on stage that year, and the year before they were doing, like, just some random acts around Wasteland or something like that. It's so cool. Just the visualization of the full hazardous waste suits and all that. You guys do a great job, so well done, Nuke Brothers. And I know that they're doing, like, shows out places, which is so cool. Daniel says 2018, the Moth Eater review at the Bikini Atoll. I think that was the first year for the Bikini Atoll, right? Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a second. Mike Kemling says, oh, shit, was this the Codpiece contest year? Yes, it was. That was a lot of fun. Ragnarok Arrest put that on, and that was really fun. Greg Stevenson says, I know there was evolution and growth every single year from one to the next, but it seems like 2018 was really a huge jump in everything, even by that standard. People taking advantage of the second year at the new site and also making big strides in costuming quality. Yeah, you know what? Like, the community, this is where so many more, like, so many more tutorials and how-to videos started popping up from all over the place, including Nuclear Snail, I think really started getting popular in the last few years, just helping everyone to really amp up their look, which is so cool. Marky Makeup, I think I saw me. Yeah, dude, you deserve to be in more stuff. Oh, Leslie says 2018 first year for an air-conditioned daytime Wasteland Weekend Film Festival. Yeah, they got their own building that year over by the main stage with air conditioning, which was so cool. And I think the Wasteland Film Festival is such an underappreciated part of Wasteland. It's just really really tough to know when it's going on, what's going on, that kind of thing. But I think it's such a cool thing that so many people are submitting films to this thing, and just great stuff. Oh man, you guys are just pounding me with stuff. Oh, I can't even keep up. Wondering if I had the first lawnmower at Wasteland 2011, Larry? What does that mean? Let's see. Tom says, I've been in love with the post-apocalyptic genre for as long as I can remember, and knowing there's an amazing community out there and building and living it is such an amazing accomplishment for everyone involved. I truly look forward to coming and meeting as many people as I can, and just living in that world. Just have to get some money for the flights to the U.S. Oh, shoot, Tom, where are you from? Yeah, we have a few people come in from around the world, and I know it's not cheap, but once you get the flight taken care of, just talk to Wastelanders. A lot of them will help you get a ride from the airport, maybe even help you like set up a camp. This is a really giving community, so don't be afraid to ask for a little bit of help, because we love when people come from overseas, and I think a lot of people would be happy to help. Teal says, take the pounding mic. What's up? Oh, shoot, there's a whole thing going on. Anyway, look that up in the comments. Of course, we had our appearance by Nathan Jones this year, who played Rictus Erectus in Fury Road. It was such a pleasure having him there. And not only that, but George Miller sent the original Rictus Erectus costume this year, which was really cool. And Jared and I and a couple other people were there with Nathan behind the scenes as he changed from his collared up shirt, looking all professional, back into the Rictus Erectus costume. It was just really great, and he fell right back into character as soon as he put it on, which was so cool. This year, the Faceless Merchants became a tribe and built the Gregor's Tower, which completed the Waterworld corner, along with the D's, the Land Sharks, the Pirates of the Arid Seas. I think it's so cool that Waterworld played such a big part in this, even though they're obviously opposites. One's in the desert, one's in the water. But what they did with the Waterworld corner was basically say, we had ships, the earth dried up, and now here they are landlocked. And I think that's such a cool addition. We dubbed, and by we, I mean like me, we dubbed 2018 the Year of the Lounge, because a lot of tribes offered interior hangouts like the Petro Pirates Pool Hall, the Ragnarok of Rust Wine and Game Parlor, the Bikini Atoll, and the Rec Rooms karaoke clubs. I think it's so cool that there's just so much hospitality coming from Wasteland tribes, and I think that's something I'd love to see just keep on going, because everybody loves being invited to hang out at people's parties. You know what I mean? And this was the year that the build crew added fire effects to the main gates sign. So now there's just fire burning on both ends of Wasteland City at night, which is so rad. Okay, cool. So that gets us through everything but last year. Next up is 2019, last year's event, and what is unfortunately going to be the last event until 2021. This is the year that we celebrated 10 years of Wasteland Weekend, and of course it was bigger and better than ever. And here we go.
Oh, fuck! No, shit! Oh, God!
Can't do war with dreadlocks.
I'm very happy.
This is Wasteland Weekend, Year 10.
There's a killer in my head. I'm gasoline.
The event itself has really morphed into this crazy, wild city and community.
The energy this year was explosive. From costumes and cars to campsites, everything was turned up. Everybody worked so hard.
The community and the people that you find here, I think it's amazing.
We're here to make art and share it with everybody here.
There were so many great people here, so ready for this, that the moment the sun came up till long after it went down, the whole city was alive. People were partying, people were celebrating, and doing amazing things that they've been waiting all year to show off here at Wasteland.
It's just one big party that you go from one encampment to the next.
Welcome to the Last Chance Casino, the Waste's only officially recognized gambling establishment.
You wanna come at me? You wanna come, better kill.
We're here at the Wasted Saints. You're gonna get the sideshow performers, burlesque, belly dancing, and a good party atmosphere. I am here in the body shop where we take people from Wasteland Basic to Wasteland Fabulous.
This is the Temple of the Wastes. This is where we house all of the shrines from the Wastelanders devoted to their different wasteland deities.
A good neighbor was originally put together as an entertainment district. If you're good to your neighbors, good neighbor be good to you.
You're watching Wasteland City become a city, which is really awesome. It means everybody's bringing a ton of art, really making the community better.
We're playing make-believe, we're doing lore, we're making up stories just because we find it funny and entertaining.
All the things we left unsaid. Now the blood is pouring red. Shit to kill, there's a killer in my bed.
We're at the Wasteland Weekend car show, and you know, it's all about dust and rust, and no going big and not going home, because we're here to kick ass, right?
I got no doors, I got no windows, the whole thing's been gutted. We took the trunk off. Back here we got no bumper at all.
This is my car, Ansley. It's a 1999 Honda Accord. I think it finally is starting to look really mean.
This is my 1973 thing. I rescued it from being crushed, wastelanded it, now I'm here.
All right, we had another little a love session to end that one as well. That song was Shoot to Kill by DK0, another amazing Wasteland band. Attendance that year was 4,300 people, the most we've ever had. And how amazing that 4,300 people all share this same love. And that doesn't even include all the people who couldn't make it. You know, there's so many people out there that are Wastelanders, even though they haven't been yet, or couldn't come this year. You know what I mean. Anyway, Richard says 2019 was the year I said I'm coming back every year. I'm physically able to from here on out. This place is home, so you finally made it. Let's see. Oh, Chris filled me in. He said the Seekers of the Path met on Wastelanders Northwest Facebook page, spent 9 years preparing, crafting, and building our tribe. Strangers becoming family. Could not have done it without Wasteland. Oh, so you guys did get to know each other ahead of time, which is really fun. Ember says, oh, I love this scene. The opening scene with the war boy getting captured and slowly shaved and turned into a war boy. You know what? That footage was a surprise to me. I didn't know that Lee, who is one of my camera guys, had shot that, and it was such a great piece to be able to add into it. And of course, that's the second opening scene where we kind of like did a little bit of acting before the highlight reel goes in. So it was really cool to see that in there. Let's see. Oh, the Rag Stag. Mike Kemling brought the Rag Stag this year. What an amazing new camp and public bar, and it was just so well thought out and really well done. So major kudos to you, Mike. Let's see. Weather was similar to 2010. That's kind of true, huh, Adam? It was a little bit, we had our cool days, we had our hot days, and we had the W, as always. Let's see. Travis said, had tickets bought and was so psyched for year 10 and then had to cancel because of freaking real life. Sometimes it just happens, That's so unfortunate. But hopefully you come in 2021. Ember says Rec Room rules. Yes, they do. What an amazing place they put together. It's a great hangout during the day. It's a great hangout at night. So well done to you guys. And of course, that comes from a bunch of the detonation from the End of Days crew. So mad props to you guys. They have a whole other event which is also amazing. But it's really cool that a lot of Wastelanders go there. A lot of them come to Wasteland. The community building, even outside of Wasteland Weekend, has been absolutely amazing to watch. Mike Kemling gives a shout out to Ghoulcrest New Bar was awesome. Yes, it was. They did a hell of a job there. Let's see. First year for women gladiators. I didn't even pick up on that. I knew it was happening and I forgot. Chicks bringing the beat down to the battle cage from Franzilla. Yes, Christopher Angel says 2019 year of the hecklecopter. That was a lot of fun. Oh man, the shenanigans that happened around that. Let's see. Teal, Mike Darling, thank you so much for all you do and chronicle what we do. Yeah, man, it's been such a pleasure to capture all the Wastelanders over the years. You guys make it so worth it. And, if I didn't have a camera in hand, I'm a bit of an introvert myself. I'd probably be just hanging out in camp and hiding most of the time and probably avoiding a lot of people. But the camera gives me strength. So this is it's not work for me. I mean, sometimes it is. There's a lot of running around, and it's a lot of pain and exhaustion. But it's such a pleasure to do this, and the feedback I get from you guys is always just absolutely energizing. Let's see. Oh, the cockpit bar's first year, says Marky Makeup. Yes, it was, and what an unfortunate bunch of events. But before it blew down, it didn't blow down, but before it got taken down because of the wind, it was such a cool spot, and I was really looking forward to getting to know it a little bit more. So hopefully it comes back in a bigger, better, stronger fashion. Greg says, I like the cold in a weird way, working on some better night gear for it. Also, yeah, I'm amazed the hecklecopter didn't make it in, but it was very well covered by everyone else. I know, yeah, the hecklecopter didn't make the highlights reel, which there's reasons for certain things. There's some things that we don't want to encourage too much. The hecklecopter was good on the ground. But once it started getting piled on top of other vehicles, we won't, safety third. Travis says, yo, yeah, I'm not missing 2021. Man, I don't think anyone here is going to. Donna says, back in 2018, I told my significant other the only way I'd get married was if we were married by Lord Humongous. We went to Wasteland 2019 and made it happen. Congratulations, Donna. That's so awesome. Ray says, I love this, stories from the Wasteland, and I think you gave me a compliment earlier up in there. So thank you so much for tuning in and for watching all this stuff. Marky Makeup follows up with the cock shall rise again. Yes, it shall. Miranda, thank you so much. Shout out to the Apocalypse Post for putting this trip down memory lane together. You and your team are amazing. Going to do what I can to show you some love on Patreon so you can do more. Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing. Yeah, it's been really fun. I was surprised when the first people started contributing, and I am so thankful that everyone does. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Okay, where are we here? Okay, so a couple of firsts for 2019. Good Neighbor, the Fallout-themed entertainment district of Wasteland City, becomes the third mega block of tribes after APOC Nation and the Den. Now, Good Neighbor had kind of been there in spirit before that, but this was the first year we put up the sign. So now it's Good Neighbor, you know what I mean? 2019 was also the first time, the second Black Thumb car meet, but the first time I actually caught it on camera. So Wasteland has their car show. Black Thumb did their meet, which was not about like showing off the cars, but getting all the makers, all the Black Thumbs to get to just talk and hang out and talk shop. And that was really fun. And speaking of which, man, the Wasteland car show was freaking huge. Oh my God, hundreds of cars, bikes, go-karts, amazing projects. And it's honestly, it's at this point, it's enough to make a real world car show blush with envy. I cannot believe how many people have a car and I do not. Someday. My car is usually just the one that gets me there. And anyway. Also, first for this year was snow at the V2A concert, which V2A has been putting on amazing shows at Wasteland for so many years. I can't even count. And I love what they do. they always bring up so many Wastelanders onto the stage to participate in their shows, and they're just so full of energy and they're really creative. Also, they've got a new YouTube channel, like a kind of a talk show. So look that up because I think they're doing a really good job with it. And unfortunately, this was the second last thing, which was this was the last year for the D's stage. It's become such an icon for Wasteland Weekend, and no one saw this coming. But the D's was built on a couple of RVs. RVs are notoriously leaky; they rot, and the two RVs that were the backbone to the D's were just simply falling apart. It was becoming unsafe. So unfortunately, it got torn apart on Sunday at the end of the event, and the shells were burned. So there's no more D's, and I cannot wait to see what Paul Miller and crew come up with to replace it, though, because I know they are incapable of coming with nothing. So I would not be surprised if they just blow us away with whatever's next. All right, so that is the end of that. Up next is our final guest, the other Wasteland Weekend co-owner and the artistic director. He's the man behind some of the biggest builds, all the fire effects, all the logistics on site. He's Adam Chilson, and he is a burning wreck.
Hello, Wastelanders. Every year at Wasteland, we come away with some kind of defining memory, something that is going to stick with us forever when we look back on it. And for me, it's not even necessarily being out there at the event. It's the year-round builds. It's the hanging out with friends in between Wastelands. It's Wastelanding all year. And you look back, but every year there's something special that you come away with. In 2010, we were small. It was a few hundred people camping in a field. 2011 was a big jump forward. It was the year that Wasteland became a place, the great gathering. We have so many friends and so many tribes that were born, that emerged, that were still with us today. 2012 was the year we built the new Atomic Cafe. 2013 was the Wasteland stage, a big jump forward with entertainment, and that was a hell of a build. 2014 sticks out in my mind. It kind of sucked. We stagnated. We didn't do anything. There might have been 2 build days, and yeah, I don't look back on 2014 fondly. But you know what? In 2015, it was Fury Road. New life. It was a new generation of Wastelanders. It was the year we built the Wasteland War Rig that is still our command center to this day. 2016, we took it a step farther and built the Warhorse, the tow vehicle. I don't think anybody is going to forget who was there, the great windstorm of 2016. 2017 was a banner year. It was the year we finally had a home, the new property. We built the new gates. Definitely one of the high points in all of Wasteland. 2018, we took the big sign over the gates and finally lit it on fire. And defining moment on site is I remember riding down Main Street with Jared in the truck and lighting the sign up. 2019 was the year we kind of finally got our shit together logistically, but it was amazing. Our build was on site was the best it's ever been. And it was a year of extremes, the wind and people, and 10 years of Wasteland. And then there's Wasteland 2020, and here we are. It's not over yet. It's going to be the year that Wasteland didn't happen, and there'll be some tough times for a lot of us because we miss being out there. I mean, it's funny to even miss the wind and the dirt and the roar of the V8, the smell of gasoline. going to bed late, waking up way too early, and you're tired and you're miserable, but you fucking love it. I'm gonna miss it. But all things being said, here we are, and this is fine. Everything's fine. And you know why? Because after everything we've been through, we're still here. We're strong. We're resilient. We've been through all this shit. We're going to keep going through it. Wasteland's going to be there again. And we'll adapt. We'll survive. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody next year at Wasteland 2021.
So, of course, Wasteland's art director does this video from inside a burning car. I've got this freaking cardboard set and a Home Depot work light behind me, and he's sitting in a burning car. And by the way, did anyone think about this when he said this is fine? Because I sure did. Adam always stays pretty quiet at Wasteland, but when he speaks, it's always so poignant. And like most of us, he really, really loves this shit. So thank you, Adam. So Ray says, you've got the best video content covering this event. Thank you so much, Ray. I really appreciate that. There's been so many really great videos that have come out, and it's been such a pleasure to be able to be a part of that. Let's see. Tim Cottis says, Rip D's. I'm beyond happy. I get to drunk dance on that thing. I've been on it a few times too, and it's so fun. And he's not the only one that's going to miss the D's. Miranda comes in with it as well. Let's see. Aaron says, you would, Adam Chilson. Of course he would. He's had amazing backdrops to all these live videos he's been doing. So well done. David agrees. This is such an amazing set, he says. Let's see. Kevin Sawyers, this is fine. Everything's fine. Adam Chilson, that's an introduction. Well, I mean, what else are you going to do, right? Let's see. Goran says, society sucks. Wasteland is future. A future that we're approaching way too fast. Jared Butler says, I want to sit in that burning car with Adam. Can't believe I've never done that. You know what? I was just looking at that car, and I don't think there's another seat available, to be honest. They're all on fire. So be careful what you wish for there, Jared. Yeah, Mike Cunling says can't recommend the other seat. Okay, what else? Tom says here's to Wasteland 2021. Yeah, I agree. Let's all have a drink together here. Ice cubes. I always take the ice cubes. Let's see. Collie Edwards says, we are Wasteland with a little heart. Yes, thank you so much. What was it this year? I put out the third one, right? Yeah, so I'm going to keep those going as long as you guys love them. What else? Vector Helix says 2021 is going to get crazy. Everyone's going to be so bent up. Yes, we are. Yeah, awesome. And John Ollinger, one of the mutant hunters, just entered the room. So welcome, John. All right, cool. Well, we're winding things down. I got a few thoughts that I want to just share with everybody. First off, it's been amazing watching Wasteland fill in over the years in space and variety. People see what's missing in this community, whether it's a library, a museum, good guys, bad guys, protectors, places to hang out, things to do, and they devote their whole year to filling those gaps the best way they know how, creating a real society, this real city that we all get to live in for a week every year. And something to note is Wasteland as an organization brings a lot to the festival. The gates, stage, command center, theater, not to mention all the organization that goes into it. And they've had to learn most of it as they go. But what makes Wasteland what it is today is you, the Wastelanders. Every single year as I walk around, I'm absolutely floored by what you bring, what you build, and what you do to keep us entertained. You guys are fucking amazing. That's all I gotta say. And that's why it's so unfortunate that a real apocalypse is keeping us from celebrating the fake one. Because this festival has become such an important part of all of our lives. And even though it's just a bunch of adults wearing costumes and playing pretend in the desert, the relationships we've formed out there are real. And the pain of knowing it's not happening this year is real. But you've already shown that you can't be held down for long. The new level of engagement online just goes to show how even though we have to wait, we're not going to let this thing get us down. And in a serious note, I hope you and all of your families stay safe, stay open-minded as new information keeps coming out, but fact check everything. The world isn't perfect, but it's the one we have, so let's take care of each other. A huge shout out to all the dozens of great people who have been on my crew over the years, especially Johan and Lee, who not only shoot but help me produce and organize the teams. Thanks to Carl, Jared, and Adam, who not only made appearances on the show today, but also for letting me be a part of this community for over a decade now. Thank you all for watching. This has been really fun. I hope to do more. Let me know if you're into this kind of thing. I think you are. You guys have all hung out. I think I've still got almost 60 of you out there, which is pretty great. I never expected this to happen. So thank you so much for watching and just being a part of this. Oh, and also happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially my mom. I love you. I will see you next time, survivors. Stay alive.